years, and today I'm here to present a session on how to deliver about delivering frictionless IT and business services across the enterprise with ServiceDesk Plus. Now, what we are going to do today is that I have four different scenarios or use cases that a normal IT organization or any business across the globe faces, and how each of these aspects has been handled and complemented by our help desk ManageEngine Service Desk Plus. So these four scenarios contribute on how a tech vendor who provides educational courses faces a major incident and how they cope up using a help the solution. Then a bank who is streamlining their employee onboarding and offboarding process when they are shifting towards the end of the pandemic, how it's well accompanied by Service Desk Plus, and how a global health insurance firm is planning to move its on premises services to the cloud to adapt to different working cultures, and how they are acing the change management process with Service Desk Plus. And finally, you're going to handle a situation again where a data analyst firm who is trying to monitor, manage assets and software of their employees who are distributed into different geographies through the Service Desk Plus solution. Now let's take our first scenario. The slides are not loaded. Rania, can I share my screen?
Okay, if something wrong with the presentation, you can share the screen. Okay, no problem.
Okay,
Please
so
share your screen.
So you're able to see the screen, right? Are you able to see my screen?
I think not yet. You can share now. Start sharing.
Yeah, okay. I did that. You can see my screen?
Yes, okay.
Perfect. So here is our first scenario where major incident management architecture that keeps your business resilient. So what is happening in this particular organization? These guys are doing this is a company that provides educational services across the globe. So when they are providing these educational services, they have their own data centers, so where the services are being provided, and the LMS is hosted across data centers, which has a backbone network links that connects all the data centers together. Now, during a routine maintenance, what happens is that this backbone service is running out of capacity, and that is triggering a major incident. Now, what is the challenge, or what is the actual bottleneck? Is that the audit, when they are trying to update the commands, the audit tools fail to track or manage the incorrect commands that was pushed in. So the LMS platform has been shut down globally, where the IT teams receive the alerts later and not on time. And also, the current tools that has been used by the service delivery team and the other teams in parallel, they suspect a different issue with the DNS server. So this just went back and forth with communication issues between the site reliability engineer, the operations team, the data center team. So to identify a point of failure on what was the actual issue took a while, and this exactly even a issue goes to a major incident is because the communication and the initial root cause analysis takes time, and to deploy an engineer and to get the issue resolved takes a longer time. So this is exactly how it happens when you don't have a proper system in place. But if you wanted to move fast to manage major instant outages, you need to have a proper solution and an architecture in place. And here's how you can handle them. So if you take a challenge, the IT teams fail to realize the extent of the outage, which is basically everything, and they did not have a tool set to even analyze or to have it in place so that the proper alerts or the notifications weren't in place. But also, the other challenge the organization faced is about the internal communication. Now, when an outage happens, you need to have the communication go and flow. When that doesn't happen, there is a communication loss, which triggers a major problem. And finally, employees always flood tickets to the IT team, which comes through different channels, and the pool of tickets are not handled on time. Well, with ServiceDesk Plus and with ManageEngine suite of products, this situation can be handled if there is a proper monitoring solution in the front end for a very long time, which means that if there is a performance degradation, or if there is a wrong command, or if there's a wrong set of instructions that's been parsed, the systems would already alert or generate a ticket into a help desk with the integrated systems. All right. And when you get these notifications triggered based on the server or based on the type of application the system notifications are being triggered, you can have an elevated view or a scope set in the help desk solution to grab attention. Now, when these type of tickets are being triggered, you can pull in the different teams, the departments who's responsible. And again, you don't need to rely on one channel of communication. With ServiceDesk Plus and the Management Solutions capability to interact with different mode of products like Jira, Slack, Teams, or other Microsoft applications, you get the game on hand. You control the situation, and the IT teams can make use of the other set of operations and toolsets to move forward with the troubleshooting. So let's take a quick demo of the product. So here is our Op Manager solution, which is our monitoring system, which is basically logging tickets into our help desk solution, which is ServiceDesk Plus. And there is a ticket template that you could configure. So every time when that particular system goes down, with the parameters that's set in the monitoring solution, the ticket is processed and handled into the help desk solution. And what you're looking at is our ServiceDesk Plus. Once the ticket is created, you have a lot of operation that happens at the back end, because you can evaluate what type of the issue it is and set the right priority. And while that happens, the correct SLAs are in place. You can also have a request lifecycle in place that denotes where the ticket is. All right, so you could go through the lifecycle and its transitions that basically helps you to navigate the ticket from one state to the other. So this way, when you're using these transitions, when you're using the life cycle, it makes it very clear and the ticket is processed correctly. And this is where the communication does not fail. Also, when the ticket is created in and help the solution, you have a lot of channels that you can establish. And this is one other system where services can integrate with the Microsoft Teams, where the moment the ticket is created, a Teams channel is created. And also, when the Teams channel is initiated, as you could see over here, whatever communication that's happening, it's happening on the team. So you have a ticket in the help the solution, and we initiate a parallel communication channel to involve the stakeholders. You bring the right set of people in. So what does this do? This ensures that the communication is in place, there is no loss of air, and also you get the ticket information from the CMDB. So the help desk solution is integrated with the CMDB within the product. It gets the data from the monitoring solution. You can frame the architecture. So when these kind of issues are reported, you basically know from where you need to start looking at. So this is how, once the ticket is processed, you get a bird's eye view on everything that's happening around. You can work parallelly by communicating in teams, creating announcements into the help desk to control the users from flagging tickets. You can view the CMDB, the architecture on how the system is controlled. You can have an idea on how vast this major impact is going to be. Now, here is a formula, or I would say a workflow, on how all of this was put into place so that when the LMS system went down globally, the IT teams were spot on and they were able to realize and address this issue. So we had a tightly integrated ITSM solution with other monitoring solutions to ensure the service time is up 24/7 always. Then we had immediate notifications to identify the point of failure. The right set of notifications were triggered. As soon as the ticket was registered, the corresponding stakeholders were informed there was a major incident group that was created in Teams. The SLAs were in place. Then there were like collaboration channels through Teams and through other mediums that can be established, which can be handled everything from a single point of contact from the ServiceDesk Plus. So within the time the ticket was registered or the issue was identified, all the data has been captured, processed, and delivered without any challenge. That forms a full cycle. That just makes sure all these elements are like involved right from the start of the issue. So with all of this in place, all right, and with everything that was handled, you were able to not only get to the root cause of the issue, but you were able to mitigate the problem and make sure a change has been registered right from the ticket itself to upgrade the audit tools. So this is one classic situation through the Service Desk Plus. You can handle a major incident seamlessly, and we've just seen the steps on how it can be done. The next situation is about how to deliver a secure, exceptional employee onboarding experience through a distributed workforce using Service Desk Plus and with the help of enterprise service management in Service Desk Plus. So this is something that we are all experiencing today, where we are focusing on a very cautious return or a switch of workforce from we had like only from office to work from home, and now people are choosing between work from home and hybrid, where people choose how they wanted to work and if they wanted to come to the office or from the home. Now, when this is happening, all right, what basically happens is that this is a common thing that's happening right now. When the HR associate is creating a request for someone who's going to join in, it's basically a choice of preference where they wanted to work, either from home, office, or wanted to like be a hybrid situation. Now, when this situation arises, it's not just the IT that has to do the work alone. It's about different teams. And again, if you look at it, from working from remote to working from the office and then a choice between office and home, there are multiple streams or multiple department that needs to get together and they need to work along with each other. And this is currently a challenge in today's workforce because every department decides to operate in silo method. So whatever HR is hiring or whatever roles and policies that has to be provided by the IT to the user, HR fails to communicate, or even if the IT does the work, the facilities does not get the other part of the information on what has to happen. So this is a failed architecture that every organization now stumbles into. And you know what? We're going to see how we could craft an exceptional employee onboarding experience across different work models using the Service Desk Plus. And this is how you ace the game. So, what are the challenges? If you look at the challenges, it's basically about the information that's collected is incomplete. And because of incomplete information and there's no standardized mechanism to work between different departments and establishing communication, the work is getting delayed, impartial delivery of the service is happening, the employee onboarding experience becomes delayed, tragic for the new joinee, and also the moment they start working is delayed because when someone wants to start immediately with all these challenges, it just makes their work very, very challenging. Now, with Service Desk Plus, you can have a service delivery platform not just for the IT, but it can also work with other departments such as HR, IT, using different templates, different forms, and each of them can withhold personally identifiable information. It can be more secure and concrete, and also you can gather resource information about the hiring person, and you can switch or share it within different departments. So if someone is going to be joining as a board of director and they wanted to choose a hybrid work model, the IT process and the facilities process for that person is going to vary for the very same person, for a different person who's joining for a different title as a marketing analyst. Their roles, their scope, their accesses, their permissions, everything varies. But the system should be able to accommodate different type of these requirements and between and communicate effectively between different teams. And also, we need to have their dedicated SLA, their life cycle on how the ticket has to be progressed through each and every step. And not just that, if someone decides to work from the office or choose an hybrid model, you need to control the access. You need to track the availability of space because now people can't overcrowd their seating area because of all the global changes that happen. So we need to configure workflows, the roles. So there's a lot that has to be handled, and that has been aced using ServiceDesk Plus. And if you wanted to see how that's done, this is how it happens. In ServiceDesk Plus, you can create help desks for IT, HR, finance, legal, travel, uh, marketing, sales, support, any different type of help desk within a single installation or a sign up of the application. Each of those instances can have their own workflows, they can have their own templates, own integrations, own reporting. It's all siloed. It makes sure that no one else could easily spoof the information from the other help desk. And also, with ESM and with the onboarding, you can create a ticket and you can have a template configured in the HR or in the IT with different level of fields, with different configurations to choose. And also, as you could see here, there are different type of fields, different values, there's cost that's being tracked. And as soon as the ticket is created, you can see there's an SLA that's assigned on the right hand side. And on the top side of the ticket, you have the type of work model, and based on which there's a request lifecycle that's been assigned. And as you navigate through the lifecycle, the tickets data has been updated. You can trigger notifications, and this is how the request lifecycle looks like. So right from different statuses of the ticket, you can send out notifications, you can mandate fields, you can make sure who has the access, either a technician or a technician group or a specific set of roles. So you can decide who gets the access. And also, when the request lifecycle has been triggered, it could also validate fields that needs to be in place. And as you can see, the tickets that are being created on the IT portal and the facilities portal, because HR is reporting this service request, the parent ticket information is tracked so that HR can take a look at the progress on each and every ticket, how it's trending, and also when the facilities have to allocate a space, we have building and space management that clearly explains what's the available space on which location, which floor. That makes the work a lot more easier and very simpler. So this is how, with the help of ServiceDesk Plus, you can actually manage a complete workflow of the employee onboarding process, communicating between different teams through different channels, tracking the progress in one place, but making sure you deliver an exceptional employee onboarding process through ServiceDesk Plus. Now, the next challenge, or the third challenge to be very precise, is about how to keep in pace with digital disruptions through organizational changes without any risk. So, what is happening here is a global health insurance which has offices across the globe in three different continents with multiple users operating from those continents decides to move all its on-premise solutions to the cloud because just with the pandemic everyone learned accessing it from the cloud and making it available for everyone when it's cloud is a lot more easier and less maintenance. But what happens is that when they are planning to do this rollout, all right, There is a challenge with the multi-factor authentication that they are trying to enable, and there are a lot of challenges with that. So all they thought is like just move the services to the cloud, but always remember with the change management, you cannot operate with the mode that one size fits all, and that always has challenges because when a change is initiated, the change's primary goal is if there is something that's not the routine, but it's a normal change or it's a major change, you need to not only like plan the change, but you also have to have a lot of uh, like backup plans and checklists during the planning. You need to plan your resources. You need to get the approvals in place, evaluate the cost and the downtime of the outage. So with all of this is exactly where you can implement the change and you can do a successful change. But when you always approach like, okay, I can do all of these through one change with no backouts, no parallel activities in place, or like no tools to manage the resource or track the work that's done, it would always lead to a failed change. So let us take a look at our services to see how you could build a future-proof IT infrastructure with our change management strategies. So if you take a look at the pain points today, you have insufficient usage of the resources because you need to claim the right set of resources and the tools. So with ServiceDesk Plus, you have a space to track all complicated or all major changes as projects. And not just that, the project management helps you to define specific roles for the end users and technicians. You can have your Gantt views, you can have your resource management space over there to easily manage resources for different users. So not one person is overloaded with too much work, and you delegate the activities accordingly. Then you can also, so in today's case, it's all siloed deployment. Like it's just right from the change, people work through the change and try to overload themselves or fail to lose the track on what's happening. But with the ManageEngine suite of products and modules in the Service Desk Plus, you can make use of the release management to make sure the continuous maintenances are not causing any workforce disruptions through release management. And we have release workflows and release calendars to track the continuous process. So next time when any organization or when the same organization wants to move the other services to the cloud, they would not be talking about outage or downtime, but rather they would be planning a very smart change management ahead so that the deployment is a lot more easier. And finally, failure to implement the change is ruled out because we have integrated release and project management with the change. And also, these are associated with tickets and assets. So you have all the information in one place. So there cannot be a failed change, but there can be a very mature change because right from within a change ticket, you can access all this information. So let's see how it's done. So as you can see here, when a change request is registered and recorded, you can seek the corresponding approvals from the corresponding team. You can see someone is approving the ticket, but at the background, you can also see there are so many approvers and the change record is dependent on the change ticket is dependent on all the parallel approvals that's required. And as you can see here, the approvals, the notifications, and the communication part is clearly handled via the change workflow. So if you look into this workflow, this is a simple workflow that can be easily constructed by anyone. And the more and more you look at it, it sounds it's complicated, but basically it's not. The ServiceDesk Plus workflow builders are quite simple and easy. You just need to drag and drop the element right into the canvas, and you can basically connect or any nodes, connect the dots, and define what needs to be happening. So you can configure multiple notifications, multiple approvals, multiple other tasks, and also you can like go ahead and define different switches so that based on the choices on the change can go for different approvals or different level of action. So all of this you can configure using the change workflow. And not just that, once the change is created, all right, you can make use of projects to implement complex changes. The projects will have its own milestones. It has its own resource management, so you can drag, drop, and manage your resources so that the project is delivered on time. And when the project is completed, which means the implementation of the change is completed, and also you have release. So once the implementation is done, you want to do your testing, you want to do your development testing, you have to do your bug fixes, you have to do it on the test system, then you have to finish off all the bugs and deploy it live on the production. All right, then if there is requiring any training or any other activities, that can be focused, and this is how you roll it out. So to have a successful change, all right, and to prevent failed changes, here is the architecture. So right exactly at the approval stage, once the change is approved, create a project if in case a change involves a lot of resources, multiple people, different roles with different designations has to be involved. Create a project. Then you can go ahead with the implementation and review through the release process, because release helps you not only to do bug fixes, but it will also help you to plan, deploy the release, test the release, bug fix it, do user acceptance testing, deploy or develop whatever issues that's been reported, you address them and you deploy those issues, and then you do the review of the change and you release and dispose it off. With this architecture, it just makes it a lot easier for organizations to mitigate complex changes or a very large change management process, simplify its continuous activity or its maintenance with zero interruption. And finally, to our last case is about how to manage inventory, optimize cost, and minimize risks with ServiceDesk Plus using our asset management. Well, again, this last example is also the classic challenge that everyone faced during the scattered working model, where there is a data analyst firm pivoted to do a remote work, and it's enabling its core workforce of about 400 employees to work from home. While they were planning to business expansion and also making their employees work from home, there are a lot of challenges with the work that's involved in managing their assets in their system, because everyone chooses to work from home or work from different locations, but IT finds it so tiresome to track their assets, the employees' assets, the last software that was deployed, where the asset is, and also the software that needs to be managed and updated. So also not just that, for audit purposes, their software license and the asset license are going for a toss because the information is not in one place. Now, if we wanted to build a perfect IT asset management workframe that is going to help you from the system, all right, this is something that you could make use of. So the discovering techniques, there are multiple that's been offered by ServiceDesk Plus through basically scanning them from the system or through other newly enhanced scanning techniques. Then once the assets are gathered into the system, you classify and you group those assets into their respective silos. Then finally, then the other part is about assigning assets and framing relationships between those assets once they are into the system. You could also enable certain assets for loaning. So if in case someone wants to walk in and say their laptop broke, or they want another laptop because they can't carry the laptops and they wanted to use it from a different location, you can register a asset store in place and also configure asset loan. All the older assets you need to rotate, you need to recycle, you need to make sure those type of assets are becoming obsolete as per the business norms, so you don't have them into the system. That could pull you down into your security audits, because if they're going to track XP machines in your network, obviously you're giving a red flag right on the hands of the auditors, because they are outdated systems. So you can track, work on asset replenishment, have a count on what you have, change what is not required. You can evaluate the contracts, you can track the financials through purchasing. So you have a tight workflow that can be defined using ServiceDesk Plus. And in order for the scanning to happen, you can deploy probes or deploy agents to scan assets, which is Windows, Linux, and Mac operating systems. The asset data is produced into ServiceDesk Plus, and also once the asset data is produced, you can assign who the owner is for the assets. All right, and as you can see, we can scan different type of IT assets, like access points, switches, routers, workstations, servers. So when these assets are scanned, they are routed into the respective bucket by the system automatically. So whatever software, hardware configurations it has, they are all fetched. You can make use of the software, add the licenses to make sure you're not violating the software license or you're on track on what's been used by your employees. The asset, likewise, it's there in the system. So even if the user goes to a different location, if they lose their asset, you can like remote lock it, remote wipe it. You can wipe the data of the asset, or you can even track where the asset is. Sorry, to help secure the piece of equipment. Likewise, it goes for the smartphones and tablets. So with these wide range of scanning techniques, you bring the assets in. You can have life cycles defined for the assets, just as how we had for the request, so that when an asset is faulty, you want to give it back to the sysadmin to repair it. There's a procedure that can be defined. If the asset is worn out of contract, or if the asset is dead stick, what needs to be done. You can define life cycles for those assets. You can track the financials, such as the contract, the purchase order of it, just so right from one place you understand what are the contracts, what's the purchasing value of those assets. And also you can track requests, you can associate changes, you can also track the software license, make sure your license records are always compliant or over licensed, so that way you're not under licensed, or if there's a new missions that's coming in, you can make use of the licenses. And also if someone is swapping the workstation, you can track the available license and allocate it back. So software license plays an important role. So we've basically covered a stretch of 4 different scenarios for a major incident, a user employee onboarding, change management, and finally asset management through ServiceDesk Plus. So I hope you all enjoyed the presentation for today and have a good time and a happy new year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Santosh, for the presentation, comprehensive presentation on ServiceDesk Plus system, and also congratulations for your celebrity of 20 years of ManageEngine. So I know it's
Thank
20
you.
years now, right? Okay.
Yes.
Let's see if you have any questions on YouTube. Please, if you have any questions, you can post to the chat area on YouTube, or you can leave your comment later on the recording video on YouTube also. We can take your questions later if you have no questions now. Okay, so thank you so much, Santosh. See you in future events as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. Have a good day. Bye bye.